My mom said that she thought the stones of Stonehenge were moved by dinosaurs.
That's not that stupid. Like, I heard it and I was like, I think she could be right.
Dinosaurs have been gone for 65 million years. Welcome back to the lunch table. Abby, I am back from my trip to London. That's the best accent I can do.
When you're with your brothers, you never walk alone.
You just became Irish.
No, that's Paddy the Batty. That's a Scousers. I guess you didn't go to Liverpool on your trip.
Is it Paddy the Batty from Ireland?
He's from
What a
Irishland.
horrible start. Okay,
No.
I was on vacation. Abby and I haven't filmed a podcast in like 3 weeks. We're going to be super rusty, and you can tell by the intro. But today I want to go through my entire trip, and I got a bone to pick with Europe. I got a bone to pick with United Airlines. I got a bone to pick with Wimbledon. I got a lot of bones to pick, and I want to get them off my chest today.
You're boning Wimbledon? What's your bones with Wimbledon?
Let's just start from the beginning.
No, let's.
What?
I was thinking about this episode. We should go Wimbledon last because I feel like that's the crux of the trip, even if it's not in order of the days.
No, that's the last thing I had on my list was Wimbledon to talk about. So we're on the same wavelength, even though we're a little, shaking off some of the podcast rust.
We're not restarting, but I do want to reset what we were talking about. I do think it's important.
Okay.
Paddy the Batty Pimlet is from England. He's from Liverpool. Most of Liverpool sounds like they're from Ireland. They're called Scousers.
Interesting. I thought he was from Ireland.
No. All right.
Anyway,
continue.
we'll get back to England because, like I said, I'm upset with them. But I want to start with the flight. Okay. So first things first, the flight started off. Well, the flight was fine, but we had like some minor turbulence. Nothing crazy. The dude sitting behind my wife Sam starts losing his mind. I mean, dude, I wish I had a video of this guy losing his mind. And he was like my age. You would have thought he was a little kid. Screaming at the top of his lungs. He starts shaking Sam's seat, screaming, "I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die!" I swear. This guy wouldn't shut up for 30 minutes. I had no idea what to do. There was a 4-year-old sitting next to me.
How do you not
fine.
film this? How do you not film this for the pod? What do you?
I don't know, dude. I was just like, I was annoyed. I was like, dude, just shut up. We're like 5 hours into our flight. We still had like 2 or 3 hours to go. This dude went on and on.
He's literally as loud as you just said. He was yelling, "I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die!"
Louder, dude. If I screamed as loud as this guy was screaming, I would clip my mic. And then the funny thing is, we're walking off the flight, and this guy like gives me a little. Like, have a nice flight. I'm like, dude, don't act like you weren't just like a child for the last 5 hours.
I have a conspiracy theory. Do you think you were on like some British like TV show where they knew you were famous and they were just trying to piss you off and see if you would snap like Boiling
Or trying
Point?
to make me panic? I mean, dude, people around me were like losing their minds.
How did the flight attendants not get involved here?
Dude, everyone was ignoring him. This guy was screaming, "I'm gonna die," or sorry, "We're gonna die." He was saying, "We're gonna die." He was screaming profanities left and right, which, like I said, there were children around. And then this dude just kept screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," just going insane.
Do you think he actually was just like watching like the 9/11 documentary, like from Osama bin Laden?
That'd be funny. He was just watching like a horror movie or something completely unrelated.
It had nothing to do with that. Your Italian dad, your Prezan dad, he doesn't say anything?
Well, my parents weren't on that flight. They actually flew down to London a week earlier to hang out with like some family that my mom has.
Oh, your mom's from London?
No, but we have like in-law. Well, it's like my mom's sister's husband has family in London.
Ah, you got one of those. You got the cousins of the cousins.
Cousins of the cousins.
Okay. Yeah. But Brandon, you're not confrontational, but you are a fiery little teddy bear. You didn't at least be like, "Can you?" Because I've seen you at your wit's end. I'm surprised you didn't just say, "Can you shut up?"
Dude, the problem is I felt bad for the guy. Like, he was clearly just going nuts. The funny thing is he would whimper. Like, you know how turbulence is very unpredictable. You'll have, like, periods of turbulence for 5 minutes, then it'll stop, and then you'll have, like, a little aftershock. There would be like a little aftershock and the guy would just give like a, ah. It was like, I mean, it was kind of funny if it didn't go on for 30 minutes.
Brandon, I'm asking the question that we're all thinking, if you're
What?
listening. Were you getting mad at a disabled person?
No, that's the thing. I told you, I spoke with the guy afterwards and he seemed perfectly fine. I mean, whatever. The thing is,
He wasn't disabled. He was just Irish.
he was definitely American. He was 100% American. But my thing is, if you are that legitimately terrified of flying, don't fly, dude. Because, I mean, like, you know my thing about babies. You shouldn't bring babies on flights. This guy was worse.
Okay, but what sob story? Like, in my mind, he's like going over to England. He's terrified, but it's like his dying mother's like last wish, and all he needs to do is just get to England to see like his mother, his daughter, and his dog are all terminally ill, and he's got to get to England. And
Maybe
his
that's
number
what
one
maybe
fear.
he doesn't normally fly, and he was forced to for some reason. And if that's the case, I feel bad. But I got a hypothetical for you. You ready? That's related to this. You're about to take off on a flight, an 8-hour flight, and the guy in front of you starts flipping out, saying, "Let me off the plane! I can't be on this plane! We're all gonna die!" And he's banging on the door. Are you just looking at this guy like, he's crazy and ignoring it? Or are you all of a sudden like, why does he think we're all going to die? And you try to get off the flight too.
That's interesting. Do you lead to like mass hysteria? I think I have to evaluate the human like in that moment. I have to like look.
But you don't
at
have that
him
much
and see-
time.
Yeah, I'm a very quick. I'm very quick. I'm a quick judge of character. I'm a
So
quick judge of character.
this dude is screaming. Remember that woman a few years ago that was like, "He's not real," or whatever? That woman that like got up and started pointing at a guy. Yeah.
That woman, show some respect for Tiffany Gomez.
Is that her
She's
name?
got a name. She's got a
Sorry.
name. She's got a family. And she said, yeah, that guy right there is not real.
Yeah, people were saying that like the person was an alien. They were saying he was blinking sideways. And then the woman came out of the woodworks like 2 months later and was like, "No, everything's fine." I'm like, whoa. You can't just scream, "Get me off of this flight," and then say, "Oh, everything was fine." She was clearly contacted by the authorities.
Honestly, I would just assume they're all on drugs. Like you had to either on drugs or schizophrenics. And either way, I'm probably not getting involved, but it depends on like how little sleep I had. Because then again, we're going to have like an international conflict because I think I'm like I think I'm going citizen's arrest. Like I think I'm asking the flight attendant to grab me some level of like bondage and I'm like duct taping that man to a seat.
I think I wouldn't get off the flight. But you've got to tell me, you wouldn't be a little nervous? Like, what did this guy see that freaked him out so much? Okay, gosh, you didn't have to lose your mind. Bless you.
I think the most important thing, were you on a Boeing or an Airbus?
Boeing. Yeah.
Oh, that I'm freaking out, brother.
Dude, and here's the other thing. Right before we were about to take off, we had the lights started flickering, right? And then all of a sudden we started smelling like usually you smell some fumes when you're on the tarmac. Unbearable, where people were like covering their face. The fumes were so bad. And I was looking at Sam, and I remember the Boeing flight that went down a couple months ago, they were saying there were electrical issues. So all of a sudden I'm panicking, thinking, this is it. We're gonna die.
Well, here's the thing. I was going to ask you this when you first told the story. What seat number were you in? Please,
We were
brother,
way
tell
in
me
the
you were in.
back.
Oh, what are you doing? You
Dude,
got to
you
be
know
in
me.
11A.
I'm not gonna pay any amount of money for extra on flights.
I'd rather die than get those overage charges.
Yeah, absolutely. Literally, I
No.
will sit in the seat that will kill me over paying an extra $50.
You heard about the guy in India and the guy like 20 years ago. They were all in 11A.
Oh, I didn't hear about the guy earlier. I knew the guy recently, the one that I was saying with electrical issues. There's another guy in 11A?
Whole flight died except 11A.
So that's 2 flights where everybody died except for the person sitting in 11A.
Gotta sit in 11A. They should be. That should be more expensive than first class or Polaris.
Like, hey, yeah, first class is great, but do you want to live?
Yeah,
11A?
seriously. $39, 11A. Wow, do it next
That's
time.
fascinating. All right.
Wait. I have a question. 11A. Do you give it to yourself or do you give it to Sam?
I mean, I'd have to give it to Sam. But that's the right answer because we're live right now.
The best is though, like your wife and my wife would have no idea why we choose like 11A and be like, hey, don't you normally sit in the aisle seat? I just really want a window view today.
I really want to film the window. I heard that it's going to be a nice view. So here's the other thing now. You ready? Now
Okay,
we land. I get past the guy. By the way, this dude was literally screaming so much. He was shaking Sam's seat. I don't know if I said that. Shaking her seat.
Sam
But anyway.
doesn't say anything?
Well, Sam's just looking at me like, what do you say? I'm looking at her like, I don't know what to do. Everybody around me is just staring at this guy.
You wanted to hit this guy with the biggest, like, knock it off bucko you've ever hit in your life.
Hey, buddy, calm down. I'm trying to watch Tulsa King, which, by the way, I binged Tulsa King. Sylvester Stallone still got it, baby. I love that show. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I have not watched the Tulsa King, but I think it's like a ripoff of another one, right?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that, but I liked it. All right, anyway, I get to London. We land. I get recognized by a fan. No. So here's the thing. You ready? It was only me and Sam. And, you know, we're traveling. This was a vacation with our whole family. My mom, my dad, my wife, my wife's mom, my wife's boyfriend. So we got a whole entourage. Of course I get recognized when it's only me and Sam. And I'm like, man, I would have loved to get recognized with everybody. You know, feel like a big shot for the rest of the day. Then we're in London having lunch a couple days later. Another group comes up to me. Oh, and this time we were all there.
Group?
Well, it was a group as in like a family. They were all like mom, dad, 2 kids.
And how was the approach? Like, did you know you were getting approached?
It was the father. When we were at lunch, it was the father.
It usually is the father, isn't it?
Usually it's one of the parents. Not the first one in the airport.
Wait, sorry. It's usually the father, isn't it? Right? Isn't that how they say it?
In it?
In it?
Yeah.
In it?
So usually, the funny thing is they always come up to me, whether it's the parents or the kids, and they say, are you... It's either are you on YouTube or are you Brandon? And I'm like, you know the answer is yes. Like, but
are you Jersey Joe?
Yeah, that happened to me once. I told you that story. Me and Steve were at the Statue of Liberty, and someone was like, hey, I saw you from TikTok. And I was like, I mean, I have a TikTok, but I've never gotten recognized for my TikToks. But I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, a high school, college girl. I was like, not really my average demographic, but whatever. And then she's like, you're Joe. And I was like, nah, that's not me. It's funny how she was like so close, but so far. But yeah, so I got recognized at lunch. Dude, I had a pep in my step the rest of that day. I've never been with my parents when I got recognized, right? Like whenever I've gotten recognized in the past, I'm always at airports, we're, shooting a vlog. I've always either been by myself or with Steve or my wife, Sam. Well, this time my parents were there. My dad swoops in instantly. The guy's like, are you Brandon? My dad's like, yes, he is. Let me take a picture. My dad's getting in on the picture. The kid's like, I don't want this old man in the picture. I just want to take a picture with the guy that I watch play Roblox. My dad capitalized on all levels. It was awesome. And then I will say the best part, my parents were fired up the rest of the night. They were just like, my boy's a star. They were so proud, and it was cool. They mentioned it like 17 times, and I was trying to play it cool. I'm like, yeah, big deal. Happens all the time. But inside, I was fired up.
Asia, Europe, America. Have you done South? What other countries have you been recognized? Australia? Were you recognized in Australia?
I don't think I was. I don't think I got recognized in Australia. We were on our honeymoon in Hawaii, and I did, but not Australia.
That counts as Australia. It's the middle Pacific.
Close.
We're good. Yeah. So now you've got Australia, Hawaii. You've done it all. So you've only got a few more continents to get recognized in. I'm struggling with my hometown, Brandon, where I was born and raised.
Well, the funny thing is I don't get recognized in my hometown as often. Like, it happened like maybe once or twice. But then I go to North Pole, Alaska, and that one lady recognized me and Steve.
A little segue into what's been going on in the home front.
Also, can you stop with you're making these sounds, and when I edit the podcast, I got to edit them out. It's a pain.
I haven't been doing a lot of cardio recently. because, okay, if we wanted to segue, I was going to tell you about how I pulled my calf trying to walk my son. But regardless.
Walk your son? What is he, a dog? What do you have him on a leash? He doesn't even walk yet. What do you drag him?
No, I got a weighted vest because I haven't been able to hit the old gymnasio. So I bought a 25.
You have him on you and you go for a walk.
No. Opposite, my friend. He's in the cart. Well, it's stroller, I guess. And I was wearing a weighted vest, and I was pushing the stroller, the weighted vest, and I was doing hills in the town. I did 5 miles the other day, and sure as shooting that calf, baby, I am like pre-Kevin Durant before the NBA Finals. That buddy's ready to snap off its bone. But regardless, sidebar. Every year, the town I grew up in does like a big feast to raise money for the church, the very pious folk. So it's a big thing, rides, games, and concerts and everything. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is it.
You're going to get recognized.
Yep, I'm peacocking down that main street. I even filmed like a mini segment for Lunchalardo. Shout out. Follow it on IG if you haven't.
Did you do the hair? Did you have like your wife, make sure you were looking good?
I'm wearing an Italian rainbow cookie hat. Everything was perfect. I had
you put a little Sharpie in your pocket, ready for an autograph?
Ready, strutting down the streets. And since it's my hometown, of course, people recognize me like from high school. But in my own head, it's like, hey, Abby. And I turn around like getting so excited. Like, all right, the avalanche has begun. And sure enough, it's just a kid I went to high school with. Not even a second look from anybody from any age or any demographic. Although I did have someone talk about the podcast. They were like, I like the podcast. What's up with the transatlantic guy? That's what they called you.
What does that even mean?
They say you have a radio voice. I never noticed this.
A radio voice?
Yeah,
that
like
good.
You sound
we're doing podcasts. I feel like that's a radio thing.
I didn't know if it was a bad or a good comment, but they were like, he sounds like a 1970s radio broadcaster, and I was like, I feel like that's a positive thing. Like, you don't want to hear. And then the guy goes, and you sound like you. But then it was no like positive or negative inflection to it.
They just gave you 2 comments about the podcast, and you don't know if either one was positive or negative.
But that's the sidebar. I was at the local town feast, and I thought superstardom was finally going to hit me. Like you said, I had headshots of me in the baby stroller. I was about to pull it out. Nada.
Nothing. Anyway, I want to go back to the flight. I got a couple things about the flight. Not this specific flight, but just flights in general. I got a bone to pick with United Airlines. And not really United Airlines, but just airplanes in general, right?
So I wrote
a couple of these things down. No, we didn't have to take our shoes off this time. Newark, getting loose on their security. No.
No, did you know?
Did I know what? You don't have to take your shoes off anymore at TSA?
Official rule.
Why? What was what made them change their minds? They didn't think it was a security risk anymore?
I think they just changed it recently. They were like, they said their detection scanners can go through their shoes now.
I don't know why they couldn't do that before.
They absolutely could. And it was the one, why we take our shoes off, right?
Because of the shoe bomber, right?
Yeah, it was Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, the most inconvenienced terrorist the world has ever seen. He didn't accomplish anything. First of all, he didn't kill a single person. I don't think it ever really happened again. This is going to be a jinx, but it never really happened again. And for the rest of time, even though I'm pretty sure they've been scanning our shoes since 2003, we have to take off our shoes, and it creates such an inefficiency at the airport. Good riddance.
It is really annoying. But beyond that, so I got a couple bones to pick with airlines, right? The main thing is the bathrooms. I get it. We're in the back of the plane. We don't deserve first class bathrooms here. But come on. First off, the sink makes your hands dirtier than cleaner. They're so the sink is smaller than the glass of water that I'm holding in my hand. I put my hands in there, and then Starting the sink, you press it, but then if you let go, it turns off instantly. So I have to have one hand on the sink at all times. It drives me nuts. Then I dry my hands with the little paper towels, and the little trash can flap is impossible to fit your hands in there without sticking your hands in the trash can.
Ew,
Not to mention the
you
flusher.
Put your hands in there?
I try to throw out my little, hand dryer towel. What do you do?
Brendan, there's like the button. You put the hand towel on top of the lid. Then you like smack the button with your elbow and it'll pop open.
There's a button?
There's like a little plastic thing that you like hit.
Oh, I didn't know that. All these
You're
years
gross.
I've been flying,
You're
I did
going,
not
like,
know that.
elbow deep into that thing? Yeah, or you just rest it on top, Brandon, and then you just let the next person deal with it.
Yeah, but that's the problem, right? Because I get in the bathroom and there's 17 paper towels on top of the stupid airplane flap trash can. And then, like I said, I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands get dirtier than when I walked in. I might as well just not wash my hands after going to the bathroom. And then here's the other thing, and this is a little bit of a me problem. I don't like loud noises. I never have liked loud noises, which is ironic because I'm extremely loud. But the flusher is unnecessarily loud. It scares the crap out of me every time. Dude, literally, I will hit the flush button, and you know how there's like that 5-second delay? I will cover my ears sometimes. It's unbelievably loud.
Brandon.
What?
People who do that have to get tested. Like, you're covering your ears?
I mean, I'm exaggerating. I'm not actually covering my ears, but why is it so loud? There's that rumor that they shoot, like when you flush the toilet, they shoot all the poop and the pee out the bottom of the plane, but that's not actually true. But it sounds like it. When you hit the flusher on a plane, it sounds like they are firing that thing out of the bottom of the plane.
What do they just like pump it out like an RV?
I just assume there's a giant tank in the bottom of the plane, and then they pump it like a septic tank at the end of each flight.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
You thought that they still shot it out of the bottom of the plane.
I thought they probably dropped it over like the ocean.
I'm going to be honest. I learned that they didn't do that like maybe a year and a half ago. Up until I was like 32, I thought they still shot the poop and the pee out of the bottom of the plane.
I mean, it makes sense that you don't do that, but like it's just probably something you never think twice about. Well, but you've heard of that like famous Dave Matthews Band story, right?
What? Of course
tour
not.
bus
I like how you do that. You've heard the story of some obscure thing that no one's heard of, right? Obviously I haven't.
Brandon, I guarantee people have heard of this. Dave Matthews Band is like one of the biggest bands on earth.
I mean, I've heard of the band, but I've probably not heard of this story.
They're driving over the Chicago River on their tour bus, and when they were stuck on the bridge, they thought to release the septic tank from the bus.
Oh.
And it dropped on top of like an entire architecture tour.
Why are those things just being released outside? Why don't they like pump it, like I said, like a septic tank at the end of the trip?
I don't know. It was like someone's bright idea to do that and drop it in the Chicago River all over a tourist group.
Oh, there's just like an eject button?
I think there is.
That's horrible. My other bone to pick, right? And this is going to sound like some weird comedy skit, but it's not. Plane food. Like, are they trying to make it taste bad? And I get it. You're 30,000 feet in the air. I'm not expecting a beautifully prepared meal, but dude, you could get a microwavable meal that tastes 10 times better. Why is it so incredibly bad? They have to be trying to make it bad. It's unbelievable. They gave me a pizza. Dude, I couldn't even eat it.
Two things. Did you age like 50 years on this trip? And second,
yes, and I'll tell you, we're going to get to the rest of this trip. I did age 50 years, but go on.
Who the freak orders pizza on a flight?
No, dude, I'm in the back of the plane. I got scraps here, buddy. It's not like I ordered pizza. They just came around. They're like, pepperoni or plain? And I was like, I guess I'll go plain. This thing, it was pizza. It was pizza, not by definition. I don't know what that thing was. It was like a stick of stale bread with ketchup and like American cheese on top.
You got a pizza on a flight to England?
That's all they gave us.
That's disgusting. I would rather that guy in the seat in front of me just blow up that whole flight than deal with the pizza. Maybe that's what he was scared of. Like he just had the meal.
He was afraid of the pizza. They called it French bread pizza, like it was something all fancy.
Oh, I hate when people like the Stouffer's French bread pizza. That's the biggest poor person thing ever, like masking itself as like fancy cuisine. I hate that.
It's so bad. But like everything on the plate, I just don't get it. Like it's not that hard to make food easy that doesn't taste that bad. Like give me chicken nuggets. I just don't understand how the food is this bad. It's unbelievable. It annoys me because food is very important to me. And I had to go 8 hours with eating garbage.
Was the last time you flew on the first class flight of Emirates to Dubai?
No, I've flown a couple times for vlogs with Steve since.
Okay.
But normally we fly domestic, so you don't get more than like the peanuts or the pretzels, which that's fine. But I haven't flown internationally since me and Abby went to Dubai, and I got like caviar, and yeah, it was like a first class meal. The chicken was one of the best chicken meals I've ever had in my life.
That's why I assumed like your privilege was coming through, and like you're forgetting what it's like to be a commoner, because that's what most people are dealing with.
I'm not saying that the food's not normally like that. I'm not complaining about this particular flight. I'm just complaining about plain food in general. I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to make the food taste better. Like Factor. Have you ever had Factor or HelloFresh? They make like their microwavable meals. Infinitely better. And I know those are more expensive, but like charge $5 extra per person for the flight and give me a Factor meal. All right, so we're done with the flight. We make it to London. Now I'd like to have my bone to pick with Europe in general, right? So we get into our hotel room. I just get recognized. I'm flying high. We check into the hotel. First off, and this is just London in general, probably just Europe. Our hotel room is comically small. Dude, and I know you're going to be like, oh, small hotel, whatever. It barely fit our bed. It barely fit our bed, and that was the whole room. Literally, the room was just the bed turned sideways, and then there was a tiny bathroom that was maybe the size of a porta potty.
Did that first Cheerio hit like crack, though?
I did get a serious Cheerio when I was at
Wimbledon.
You got a Cheerio? Somebody.
You got a Cheerio?
I got a Cheerio. I got a Cheerio from an old guy. And I was like, I heard it, and I was like, this guy's like messing around. And then I looked back, and he was like in his 70s, and I was like, I just got myself a serious Cheerio. It was awesome.
I know this is like going to be a really stupid question, but how prevalent is like British in England?
What does that mean?
Like how?
Like how many times are they dropping Cheerios?
No, just like how many people are speaking with a British accent? Like, is it all of them? I know it is all of them.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of had that same thought. I was like, is everybody really going to have a British accent when I get here? They did. It was like 99, maybe 95%. London is wildly diverse, though, I will say. Like, more so than New York City, more so than anywhere else. They said...
It's not more so than New York City.
No, it was. It was the most diverse city in the world. It's like 70% of people. It was more than half.
It's just Indians and Sri Lankans. That's all it is.
I mean non-English people. But it was like 30% of London is from India, they said.
Yeah, that's true. Like, London has amazing Indian food, but it's literally just Indians.
So I get my small hotel room. Here's the other thing. In Europe, they don't have air conditioning. And I get it. It never really gets that hot in the summer, except for when we were there. It was 95 degrees Fahrenheit one day. No air conditioning anywhere.
I've been watching the most Wimbledon I've ever watched in my life because I'm on paternity leave. So, like, I'm watching, like, Mira Andreeva, or who's the one who...
That's why
Amanda...
you're texting me. You're texting me for every match. You're watching more tennis than me right now.
Way more. I'm watching like 7 hours a day. I'm watching like replays of old matches. Yeah, and everyone's commenting on like how hot Wimbledon is for the first time.
Well, it's funny because when we got there, they were like, it's a heat wave. It's really bad. And it was like 81 degrees Fahrenheit. And I like looked at my wife. I laughed. I was like, psh, what a nice heat wave. Oh, like, because, at where we live, it's 90 degrees pretty often. And then the day we go to Wimbledon, it was 95 degrees. And it only really rained like 1 or 2 days my entire trip.
How do the people smell in England? Beanie? Do they smell beanie?
That's a funny thing. I noticed a lot of BO in England, but I'm not sure if it was just because of the heat. Like, I don't think people were used to that level of heat. But there was a lot of BO, especially when we were on the subways.
Oh, God. Would you rank it like one of your smellier cities? Because you think of like British people as very proper and like smelling good.
I feel bad calling London one of the smelliest cities I've been to, but it was. I'll give them a pass because, like I said, it was almost 100 degrees. It was like
Were the teeth?
20 degrees past what they thought a normal heat wave was for them.
Were the teeth bad?
I don't. That's something I didn't notice. That was something that did not stick out to me.
Did you like paper prick anyone? Like any hemophiliacs around them?
I don't even know what that means.
The royal family is like hemophiliac because of like thousands of years of inbreeding. So like essentially they have like they just bleed out like if you cut like one of the royal family members.
Like their blood doesn't clot?
I don't think it clots anymore because of the inbreeding, but whatever. I'm sure the British folk will be like, "Oh, you wanker, you are, you fat turd." Like, at least we have universal health care and, literacy. But whatever.
So, no air conditioning. Here's the other thing. In Europe, they don't drink water. Do you notice that? They do not drink water. I saw something online that was like, you can tell an American is in Europe by like them carrying a giant bottle of water. Nobody drinks water. We go to a restaurant. They give you like this much water. No ice. Don't even ask for ice. It's unbelievable. I was dehydrated the entire trip.
They don't respect the water game, but they do. They're glass bottle folk, right? I hope. Like for sodas and stuff.
Yeah, we did get a lot of glass bottles. You're right.
That tastes different coming out of the glass bottle.
They're phenomenal at just protecting the environment, which I thought was interesting. Solar panels everywhere, windmills everywhere. Even the buses and trains were electric, which was really, really cool to see.
What'd you do for food? When we went there, there was like it was like a fantastic fish and chips. It was like the Chipperary or something.
Whoa, wait, whoa. This is literally on my list. Did you go there? The Mayfair Chippery.
Oh, that's what it was.
No. Dude.
Yes.
My thing about fish and chips, it's always a 5 out of 10, right? You go to your favorite bar, wherever you go. I always say, "Oh, I could go for the fish and chips," and then I'm always disappointed. These fish and chips were off the charts.
Unbelievable. And like lightly battered, and the actual chips, like the fries, the wedges, perfect.
Yeah, thick. You got a lot of potato in there. They give you that malt vinegar. Little tartare sauce.
And I saw you went to Canterbury. Did you see the castle, or that church? How big that church was?
It just kept going. It was bigger than my town.
Wait, and what was I going to say? I had some things written down about like my experience in England when we went. Big Ben. Bigger than people like talk about. Like you think it's going to be big.
Did you watch my video on my? You had to. Okay. Okay. Because you're going down the list of all the things that I mentioned.
I saw it this morning, and I was like, I'm going to get Brandon. I've never been to England, by the way.
I was going to say, I didn't know you ever went to England. Okay. I made a video on my other channel, my gaming channel, talking about my trip, and Abby was just going down the line.
I figured... Okay. I don't normally watch your gaming videos, but for some reason I went to YouTube, and the first video that popped up was like, I'm going to talk about my trip to England. And I was like, he definitely is not going to expect me to watch this. So I wrote down everything. I wrote the bath. I wrote the bathing suits. I was going to work that in. I wrote the enormous milkshakes.
Those were good. That was the lunch where I got recognized, was the milkshakes.
Okay, but the one thing I did want to talk about, we might be fast forwarding a bit, but we could even put it as a teaser. I do want to talk about Stonehenge and your mom's theory on Stonehenge. Fantastic.
Whoa! You're getting ahead of me. I got Stonehenge later on my trip. We're going in order. Okay, next thing on my list was Stonehenge. I'm not kidding. Stonehenge was literally the next thing on my list after I just berate you for getting too far ahead. Can I get into something before we get into Stonehenge? So when we were we went to Windsor to tour the Windsor Castle. And they're telling us about this guy, William the Conqueror, right? William the Conqueror, 1,000 years ago, came to England and conquered the whole country and took it over, right? So I'm expecting this dude to look like The Rock. This guy took over an entire country. I saw a picture of him. I'm going to text you. I want to text you a picture of this guy. Dude, if I grew up 1,000 years ago, I could have owned all of England. This guy is the biggest twerp I have ever seen in my entire life. I would just annihilate this guy in every way possible. And I'm 5'6" and 150 pounds. It's unbelievable that this man conquered an entire country, let alone England back then. This was the great man that conquered England.
He had to have like nuclear weapons, right?
I mean, what is that?
He looks like Edgar Allan Poe, but like wimpier.
He looks like Edgar Allan Poe mixed with Shakespeare.
This is the dude conquering nations?
That man's name right there that you're looking at is William the Conqueror.
You think William the Conqueror was secretly like jacked out of his mind, and these are just like post pictures where they wanted him to like ease the people of like England to not scare people?
I mean, it's a possibility. I will say this was literally 1,000 years ago, so they didn't have photography. This was a painting of the man. But I find it hard to believe that they would undersell this man. Don't you think they'd give him, like, more muscles than he had?
That's a good point. He was probably weaker than
he might have been skinnier than this. England got taken over by this guy who was like 4'9", 110 pounds.
So is that like the start of England? Is William the Conqueror?
That was the beginning of like the royal family. Like he's kind of the one that started the bloodline.
So he is like the patriarch of the bloodline.
He's like the OG of the Windsors or whatever the royalty's last name is.
Interesting, because like William and Harry, they're all Windsors, right?
I think they technically are, which is funny because I don't think their names were originally Windsor, but it was like their names were German and then they changed it like way back when.
They're German?
I don't know if they are. I don't know. I'm really bad at paying attention and I have a horrible memory, so I remembered half of what our tour guide said. But I will say, I've never been interested in the royal family. For me, I always find it uninteresting. When we were there and they were telling us the history of it, it is a little interesting. Like, I didn't even know that Princess Diana was married to the current king of England. I didn't even know that much. I didn't know she was like Prince Harry's mom. No idea.
There's no way you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I thought she was young and the king's old, but I guess she died a long time ago, so.
She died like 30 years ago.
Like, I think of Princess Diana as being like 39 years old.
Don't you think it's a little ironic that her nickname was like Lady Di?
Princess Di.
Princess Di. She sure lived up to that name. I'm sorry,
dude.
But
I heard she was like a very wonderful woman.
No, you ever see what she did with the AIDS patient?
That I didn't see. I saw she was great with children. I didn't see the AIDS.
She like cast a spell on him, and then he was cured of AIDS like 3 years later.
After chemo and regular treatment also?
No, after just touching him.
So she gave him the spell, then he went to the hospital and got treated, which that had nothing to do with it, but the spell is what cured him.
No, but for serious, there's like a lot of royal code and like they're like apparently I'm going to make this up, but I think it's real. Like they're not allowed to chew gum. Like there's a lot of like rules to royalty and like the queen can't like certain colors on certain days and like you can't stand when other people are standing type deal. There's a lot of rules to this. Oh, you're not allowed to shake the queen's hand. That's a big thing.
The weird thing about the royal family is like they don't have any power anymore.
It's total. I think they have money from just like being monarchs. Like they're worth like billions of dollars. Back to that Princess Di. when it was like the height of the AIDS epidemic, she shook like an AIDS patient's hand when people were like, whoa, stay away. You don't know if you can get like AIDS. And she was trying to show compassion. Wonderful woman. Not Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was a piece of crap.
So then we make our way. We were on a bus tour and we finish in Stonehenge, right? And I was very excited because I was like, all right, this is the one that I'm excited. I've been looking at too many churches and castles, Stonehenge. And we get there, dude. The guy was saying that the stones are 6 tons.
I watched the video. 6,000 years. The 4,000 to 5,000 years old. 6 tons each.
Okay.
Are they tall? Are they taller than you? Like, okay, there's 2 things that are going to happen at Stonehenge. It's either going to blow your mind, or you're going to see it and be like, I could do this. Like,
so
me and
that's
Steve
the
could do
thing.
this.
That's the thing. I was expecting, like, my parents always tell a funny story. They went to visit the Alamo, and they got there, and they, like, didn't even know they were there. It was, like, this tiny little building. There was, like, a city built around it. But this was not that. I get to Stonehenge. These things are massive. They are building-sized boulders. And like I was telling you, the tour guide said they were, like, 6 tons, 12,000 pounds each, and they were moved 5,000 years ago. I have no idea how these people move these rocks. And some of the rocks, they said the farthest rocks moved 400 miles. Like the origin of those stones came from a quarry like 400 miles away.
I mean, it's the same as the pyramids, right? Like, the obvious thing is slavery. But second, I think your mom's theory...
But even with slavery, I don't know how, like, you could have 1 billion people. You can't crowd enough people around one rock. I don't know how they move these things.
They built
400 miles. Dude, we couldn't even walk 40 miles with like a 10-pound backpack on our back. 400 miles?
Yeah, because we didn't have some sultan, like, telling us that we were going to kill their entire bloodline if we don't move this rock. I guarantee you, it was probably like freaking... 35 slaves. Like, they were just like, all right, let's just pick it up, brothers, or else they're going to kill our entire village.
I'm telling you, you didn't see Stonehenge in person. You're not picking these things up. You could have 100 people. You're not going to be able to lift this.
That's why I like your mom's theory.
My mom said that she thought the stones of Stonehenge were moved by dinosaurs.
That's not that stupid. Like, I heard it, and I was like, I think she could be right.
But she was saying it like the people 5,000 years ago had dinosaurs as pets and used them to move the stones.
Whoa, you just blew my mind, brother.
Dinosaurs have been gone for 65 million years. These stones were 5,000 years ago.
I got to be honest, I forgot about the whole 65 million year thing. But until you...
You just thought T-Rexes were walking around 5,000 years ago?
What are the chances, though, that it just was like... Hear me out, like a mountain that just kind of like disintegrated?
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. And like, those are the remnants.
What do the people say? First of all, a couple things. I've been saying first of all a lot, but it is the first of all of them. I thought Stonehenge was in like Ireland or Scotland. That's one. Two, I was pretty sure it was aliens until your mom said the dinosaurs, and I might pervade. Did your mom come up with the dinosaur thing?
All by herself. Instantly. Like, she didn't even think about it. She was just like, dinosaurs.
Kayla's mom.
What about her?
Doesn't believe dinosaurs are real. She thinks, like, when you go to the museum, like, that those are all fake, that it's a big conspiracy theory, that the bones are hollow.
Like, here's the thing about some of these conspiracy theories like that one. What is there to gain? Like, what's the point? Just so museums could make money, or...
To make money and disprove religion. It's big anti-religion to prop up the dinosaurs.
So dinosaurs are fake. I like that one. So her and my mom so her theory would not be that it was dinosaurs.
Oh, Kayla's mom and your mother would clash like the Titans.
Here's a legitimate question. What is your honest theory of Stonehenge? You just think it was slaves that carried it for 400 miles?
I think it was like animals mixed with slaves, like elephants.
Like elephants. That was one of the things that I guessed. Like
elephants and like moose and like things like that are.
Is it moose or meese?
It's masses.
But dude, here's the thing. Like, all right, you're looking at the pyramids, which is another interesting one. There's a bunch of conspiracy theories about the pyramids. But each block of the pyramids, they're big. But they're not 6 tons.
I think they're like 2 tons.
I might be wrong. It might have been 60 tons then were the stones at Stonehenge. Whatever
Can
it
we
was.
look it up?
Yeah, let me look it up.
Jamie, look it up.
Jamie, look it up. But, dude, you're like an elephant could not carry one of these stones.
I'm not saying one elephant, Dumbo. Well, I didn't do that on purpose, but I'm saying like 10 elephants plus slave labor, plus like 42 horses.
25 tons. 25 tons. I was wrong.
Each one's 25 tons.
So that's 50,000 pounds.
How does that translate to US dollars?
Dude, that's another thing. The pound got me all confused earlier. But, dude, I don't know how these things moved. I'm sure you're right.
Each of those are 50,000 pounds?
That's what I'm telling you, dude. Something's not adding up. I'm starting to actually think it's aliens. You can't have enough elephants carry 50,000 pounds.
How much can an elephant? How about monkeys?
Jamie, look it up. All right,
how much can an elephant?
What's your guess? How much can an elephant carry?
Oh, aliens are reasonable while monkeys get out of town.
Well, I was half kidding with the aliens. The average strong, it says adult elephant can carry
60,000 pounds.
1,500 pounds.
Okay, that makes sense then.
You would need like 40 elephants.
Okay, Brandon, let me teach you a little thing about physics. You just need a few wheels and something.
They didn't even invent the wheel yet. That's the other thing about Stonehenge. Stonehenge was there before they invented the wheel. I'm telling you, it's aliens.
The wheel was invented like millions of years ago.
No, look it up. The wheel was invented like 4,500 years ago. Which I was shocked, by the way, because I was like, why don't they just use wheels? And the guy was like, the wheel wasn't invented yet. And I was like, dude, the wheel's like prehistoric times. And he was right. The wheel's like only 4,500 years old.
I think the real response is that like half of these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it was probably just like...
I'll give you that.
It was probably just... Honestly, the thing that I'm coming to like lean on now is that just ancient societies was probably just as advanced as us. Like not to the same degree, but then some type of like mass extinction happened. We don't know because of the like the Library of Alexandria was burnt to the ground. Like all of this, that's not even like to me conspiracy theory. I just think like man kills
we went
itself.
Backwards after being advanced.
Or we got hit by like some meteor that we don't talk about.
My dad was talking to the tour guide, and my dad was like loving it. My dad is really interested in history, so he's like trying to come up with his own theories. My dad was like going to solve the whole thing. I'm like, Dad, people have been investigating this for like hundreds of years, and you think you're going to figure it all out? My dad's like, yeah. So he talks to the tour guide. He's like, when are the first like tours and pictures of Stonehenge? And the guy was like, oh, in the 50s. My dad's like, psh. They probably just brought machinery in here in the 40s then and like brought these stones in, and they did it for like this big tourist stunt to make money. Like my dad's convinced that like they said this is 5,000 years old, but it was like it's only been around for like 60, 70 years.
As they would say, that had to tickle the hell out of that guy. He was probably like,
that tour guide. That tour guide was not happy. He's like, no, they've been carbon dated. They're 5,000 years old. I will say he was saying it tongue in cheek, and I will actually say the tour guide was very nice. He was they were joking around with each other.
What does the science say?
I mean, they don't really know. Like they kind of say for the purpose. Well, that's the other thing. We're just talking about how Stonehenge was built. We're not even talking about what it was used for.
It's for like animal sacrifice.
Some sacrifices, like temple worship, stuff like that, because there's also bodies buried all around Stonehenge, which is kind of eerie.
Which is the slaves.
It's a good point. It's coming together. Is the reason why Stonehenge hasn't been solved yet is because the English people just don't want to admit that it was just like tens of thousands of slaves?
I think it was like a 1915 like World's Fair tourist attraction that they used like 400,000 slaves for, and they were like, just bury them around and say it was the aliens.
Yeah, say it's 5,000 years old and call it a mystery. But it was really interesting. Stonehenge is really, really interesting. They also said that only 25% of the rocks are still there. Did you know that? Most of Stonehenge is gone. Whether it's erosion, whether they said people used to come and like steal pieces of it like hundreds of years ago before there was like a blockade. Oh, yeah. The second I heard that, I was like, duh, I want to bring my rock hammer. Steal a little bit.
What was the biggest letdown of the trip? We've been like an hour in. We haven't talked about Wimbledon.
All right, so then let's finish it off with Wimbledon, okay? So if you don't know, Wimbledon is the most famous tennis tournament in the world, and me and my whole family are all tennis fans. So that's the reason why we went. We went to England for Wimbledon. So Wimbledon, you could buy tickets one of two ways, right? You could either buy these tickets called like debenture tickets, which are, I think they were like $5,000 per ticket. Obviously, we were not going to do that. Or you can wait in the queue, right? It's like this big line, first come, first serve, and it's $30 to get in. So everybody I've talked to was like, yep, do the queue. It's a no-brainer, this and that. 30 pounds, so probably like $40, $45.
That'll cost you $42.
It's a little more. So we get there at 5 a.m, the first day. We get a slip of paper. We were 10,000th in line.
Which doesn't, honestly, I got to be honest, which is what this podcast is about, brother.
It's all about honesty.
We're always about honesty. I don't think 10,000 seems like that many people for like a venue like Wimbledon.
No, but that's only the people that were in the queue at 6 a.m.
Okay, but then all the other people just bought tickets for 5,000 pounds a piece?
So there's also a lottery. I don't know. Dude, people were getting in other ways, but for the most part, it's either you have to pay thousands of dollars to get in, or you have to wait in this queue. Most people waited in the queue, I will say. It was the majority of people.
And you didn't get in until 3:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah, we get there at 6 a.m. We get in at 3:30 in the afternoon. Tennis ends at like 7 or 8 p.m. So we waited for 8 hours to get in, and we got like 4 hours of tennis, which also, by the way, by the time we got in, we were exhausted. Like, I looked to my left, and Sam's mom's boyfriend is, like, nodding off. He's exhausted.
Hey, Rich, look alive. Someone get an IV.
It was unbelievable. I was certain one of us was going to, like, die of heat exhaustion. Here's the best thing. You get into Wimbledon, and then it's just a tale of two completely different people. Because Sam and I sit down on court one, and you've got the people like us who waited in the queue that look homeless and smell like death and look like they're about to die. And then you've got these rich people that are in suits and ties and dresses. We sit down. We must have smelled like a swamp. And these two rich dudes in suits and tie looks at Sam and goes, "What was the queue like?" It was like out of a movie. And Sam just looks at me. We didn't tell him we were in the queue, by the way. He knew because he looked at us and smelled us and knew immediately these guys came from the queue. It's just so funny how Wimbledon is such this proper event. And then you've got, like, we looked like we just got home from, like, a 4-year war.
You missed an ample opportunity. You should have been like, no, we're debenture seats.
I should have. Oh, we bought our tickets for $10,000.
With the queue tickets, you can just go on court one or center court?
No, so they love their freaking queues. That's another bone that I have to pick with England. So when you get in with the queue, that only gets you the grounds pass, which means you can only go on the outer courts. So you can't even watch the big guys, like the famous guys, play tennis. Then they have another queue if you want to get onto the center court or court one or even court two. So day 2 is when we got on court one. We waited in the queue to get in, and then we waited in another queue to get the court one tickets, and that took another like 2-3 hours.
How much was court one tickets?
No, it's free if you wait in that queue, it's free to get in.
Interesting.
Or I think it was like 10 pounds. I think it was like 10 pounds.
2 things. Did you get strawberries and cream?
Yes.
Did you get a Pimm's cup?
Yeah, Sam got a Pimm's. I got a strawberries and cream. Here's the thing. The strawberries, phenomenal. They were so good. These things were juicy. They were ripe. They were fresh, nice and sweet. The cream ruined it all. It was flavorless. Like, they would have been much better off using, like, a whipped cream. Dude, it tasted just like thick water.
Was it, what's it called? What's the one that's like, it
was just heavy cream.
It's just
it was literally
cream,
just
no
liquid
sugar.
heavy cream with no sugar in it.
What?
Flavorless. I swear, dude. I was so disappointed. I'm going to text you a picture of the strawberries and cream. It looks disgusting. I'll show people that are watching on the video podcast, which, by the way, most people are watching on the video podcast. But if you haven't, our audio only is killing it, man. Spotify, Apple Podcast. If you want to listen to our podcast, like I said, if you're driving in the car or whatever, you have to listen to it. Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. Links below on the YouTube video. But our audio only has been killing it, man.
You can't cream this way. This is gross. This is a gross way to cream.
I would have rathered strawberries with some vanilla ice cream, or even, like I said, just give me whipped cream.
Vanilla ice cream is the way to cream.
Or what would have been better is just giving me the strawberries, just with no cream. But here's the thing.
Chocolate, a little bit of chocolate would have been nice.
Chocolate would have been much better. Here's the thing, though. Guess how much the strawberries and cream cost?
18 pounds.
So that's what I was expecting. I figured this is the most famous thing to get at Wimbledon. It's going to be so outrageously expensive. $2.70. That's it. It was $2.70. It's like $4 in U.S. currency.
That's not bad. So that's like the Masters pricings.
Exactly. So it was kind of one of those things where, like, we get it. Getting into Wimbledon's really hard, but the food we're going to make reasonable. And pretty much all the food was reasonable. Like, I got fish and chips. It was terrible, but it was like 7 pounds, 8 pounds.
How was the Pimm's Cup?
Pimm's was, so I just really tasted Sam's Pimm's. It was very sweet. I liked it from my taste, but Sam said by the time she got like halfway through her glass, it was like too sweet. She got tired of it.
And overall, what do you think about Wimbledon?
Here's the thing about Wimbledon. They had this queue. You have to wait so long, but this year they said the queue was worse than ever. I think the queue was great probably like 50 years ago when there was like 75 people in line. And, you know, you get there at 8 a.m., you wait 3-4 hours, you get in. Also, the weather being 90 degrees didn't help. But the queue is so outdated. There were 17,000 people in line one day. It's unbelievable that you have to wait 8 hours to get in. I think it's the stupidest system ever. And they're like, oh, we're trying to be a tournament of the people. We're trying to cut down on resale. Dude, that's not a tournament of the people. You make us suffer. They had 10 porta potties for the 17,000 people of us. It was the most disgusting bathroom experience I've had in my life. I walk in the porta potty, all 10 of them overflowing poop.
This is a scathing indictment on Wimbledon.
I'm telling you, everybody sees Wimbledon as this beautiful, proper, clean, classy place. They don't see the underbelly. The queue is a hidden underbelly of Wimbledon where they torture you for 8 hours and then just, like, send you to, like, court 5. Like, the best player we saw was, like, the 50th ranked guy in the world, unless you wait in another queue to get on the higher courts.
I thought you went to see Taylor Fritz.
Well, that was when we waited in that line to get to court 1.
Was that his first round matchup when he won 5 sets?
I think it was his second round. Yeah, because it was Wednesday, so that was round 2 for him.
We're deep into the pod now, so we can Wimbledon, we can tennis nerd it up a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna nerd it up a little bit. Everybody, when you're watching this podcast, Wimbledon is long over. But wait, I want to answer your question about, like, once you got in, was it like magical, right?
Yeah.
Here's my thing about Wimbledon. Once I was in, ignoring the queue, ignoring the strawberries and cream, ignoring the rich people mixed with us smelly poor people.
Yep.
Wimbledon, I would say every once in a while I would sit back, I'd have a view of center court, the grass courts, and I'd be like, wow, this is really cool. Because I grew up watching this tournament. But 95% of the time, it's literally just the U.S. Open. But the U.S. Open's an hour and a half from me, and I can get there every single year. So would I ever go back? No, but I'm glad I went.
Did you get me merch?
No, I got myself a shirt, though.
Kind of cool.
The merch. Okay, so they were very friendly on their food prices. Not so much with the merch. Oh, my God. Dude. There's like a famous, if you're not a tennis fan, you don't know this, but Wimbledon's famous for like their purple towel, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'll get one of the famous like Wimbledon purple towels. 80 pounds. That's like $100 almost.
You got to buy it. You're in Wimbledon.
Nah, I didn't get it. I got a shirt. I got a t-shirt.
You are such a cheapo. You flew across the ocean. You only paid $30 for a ticket. It's your lifelong dream. Biggest tennis fan I know. like eats, breathes, and sleeps the green felt on a tennis court. $80 for a towel, and you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's been my life stream. If it was 64 pounds, I would have bought it, but 80? No way, Jose.
Yeah, I got myself a cheap T-shirt. It was still 40 pounds. I hate getting ripped off. I hate it. They knew they were ripping me off. I knew they were ripping me off, but I was like, I have to get something. I came all the way out here. But if you think I'm paying $100 for a towel, heck no.
Overall, the trip, what do you give the grade?
I have not been on a vacation with my parents since I was a kid. We went with my parents, Sam's mom, and Sam's mom's new boyfriend. I was going to say Sam's new boyfriend. That would have been awkward. Sam's mom's new boyfriend. Dude, they travel so differently than us. Like,
they're kids.
Me and Sam brought just carry-ons. Like, we don't even check bags. They bring the checked bags. Not only my parents, but Sam's family too.
Sam is only bringing a carry-on?
Carry-on, baby.
That's ridiculous.
We don't pay for checked bags here in my household.
I love traveling with my parents while also understanding that it's like a little bit like going there with your own children, because it's like they always have to eat. Like they always have to stop. Like they can't keep going. It's like they need a break. They need to sit down. I need water. I need this. And it's like constant questions about like, what are we doing tomorrow? What's going on the next day?
Everybody, and the funny thing is, I think the majority of it is just, it's harder to travel with more people, right? Like
yes.
When me and Sam travel, it's two of us. We both like the same food. We like the same things, so it's easy.
Your dad, again, more of a character, but in the best type of way.
The best thing about my dad is he can talk to a rock. Like, we met so many people just because it's like, where did my dad go? And I just look around and he's talking to some random guy that lives in the
Roger
town.
Federer.
Yeah. That would be my dad, though. It's just like my dad's just chatting with Federer. You know,
he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing over here? Are you from around here?
My dad's got this habit of asking people questions when we already know the answer, right? Like, we were looking for a castle. We knew where the castle was. We had it on our GPS, and my dad's like, goes up to a random person. Where's the Canterbury Castle? I'm like, we know where it is. And then, like, it ends up just making things take more time. But what it does do is we meet so many people, which is great. But what were you going to say?
No, I'm saying, like, at the end of it, you're in the moment, and you're just like, because this is the 1 year anniversary of me taking my dad to the Euro Cup, like on a whim.
Yep.
And obviously, I love my parents. And actually, my parents, grade A, I'm not even being sarcastic if they're listening to the podcast. This is not to pander. Probably the two best people you can travel with, because they want to do everything and they want to show you everything. But to that point, like, they're old. So that it's like dealing with children, because my dad's like, maybe similar to your mom, like, what happens if, the game gets canceled? I'm like, Dad, it's the Euro Cup final tomorrow. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
What happens if the taxi cab doesn't come? Dad, we're in Berlin, Germany. There's 400,000 other taxi cabs.
That's the other thing. We go to England, which is like known. Europe in general is just known for their trains, right? Like their train system is so much better than America.
The tube.
Right? But my parents, and even Sam's mom's side was the same, they want to Uber everywhere, but the Ubers are so expensive and take longer. Like, we had to go from King's Cross, which is like very Harry Potter. That's where platform 9 3/4 is. We had to go from King's Cross to the airport, right? It was like a 30-minute train ride, and it was like $3 each. Or it was like a $109 Uber trip, and we couldn't even fit all of us in an Uber trip. And we had to do the darn Uber, but then me and Sam couldn't fit in the Uber, so we paid for the Uber and then still had to take the train. So those are the things where I'm like, oh, I just wish I was traveling with Sam. But I will say, I will look back on this trip for the rest of my life as like the final trip that I really went on, like with just my parents before I have kids, with my wife. Even my wife's family came. It was a phenomenal trip, and I had an amazing time. But I got to bust my parents' chops a little bit. And, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm definitely not perfect either. But I got to call them out for, their faults.
The last time, it was beautiful, Brandon. And honestly, that's the what I thought you were going to say, and I'm glad that you've had this type of reflection in real time. Like when I was with my parents in Spain the last time, I took like a video of my dad. There was a violin player playing, like in the background. They were playing like Game of Thrones music. There was like some homeless peddler, but whatever. In the moment, in the ambiance, it was beautiful. And it was the Santiago de Compostela in the background. And my parents were like dancing and enjoying themselves. And I took like a video pan of it with the violin music playing. And I turned to my wife. And I was like, I think I'm going to play this like video at their funeral. Like this is going to be like an ode to them. And boy, did that choke me up. And I was like, this is like, how lucky are we to experience these moments in real time and realize that like they're happening as they're happening. But don't get me wrong. Like 2 minutes later, my mom was like, when's the Uber coming? And you're just like, your funeral's
that
coming.
Me a lot. Like
Your
I
funeral
would
is
lean back. I'm like, I'm at Wimbledon with my parents, my beautiful wife, her family. Like I look over at my dad's smiling, and I'm like, this was a bucket list item for us for years. And then 2 seconds later, like someone's complaining because they have to go to the bathroom, but then they're going to lose their seat, so we all have to leave. And I'm like, and you come crashing down. But it was a phenomenal trip. Last thing I want to talk about, and I mentioned it quickly, the trains in England are unbelievable. So we went from London all the way up to, what was the name of the town? York, right? And it was a 2-hour train ride. And I'm like, okay, 2-hour train, whatever. I'm used to trains in America. Dude, I look it up. How long would it have taken to drive? 4 hours and 45 minutes. This train was flying.
Oh, that was the story. I thought you were going to say then your dad was like, let me off this thing.
That's the whole story. I will say, I love trains, so that plays into it a little bit.
You like trains? And you're covering your ears at loud noises?
Yeah, it's not a good sign for me. My teachers always said that I was artistic.
Oh, yes. Yes, I've seen
Which is
you,
funny because I'm not. I don't know how to paint at all, so I don't know what they were talking about.
Yeah, me neither. Do we have time for a little lunchtime?
Yeah, let's do a quick lunchtime. So if you guys haven't watched or listened to the podcast, at the end of every episode, we answer a comment from the previous episode. So Abby, do you have one ready today?
Oh, no, not at all. I took some screenshots, though. Hold on. This is good because this is like British. From DZ Gaming 62320. The resilient. It rolls right off the tongue. I'm determined to get this on the channel. If you had to fight one historical figure with a random animal as your weapon, who would you fight and who would that animal be? Well, we're choosing William the Conqueror, right? That's why I brought this up.
Yeah. I'm going William the Conqueror, and I'll bring a gerbil, and we would win easily. Dude, this guy, William the Conqueror, dude, takes over the entire country of England. I could beat him with my left finger.
I'm going William the Conqueror, and I'm bringing a thumbtack because he's a Newcastle player.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to, what's the name of this podcast? The Lunch Table. We will be back in 2 weeks for another episode.